That's right. However, in the late 1970s, the Iranian people carried out an earth-shattering anti-colonial revolution. In 1979, they swept away the brutal monarchy and restored control over the oil and gas to the Iranian masses. The clerics played a leading role in this mass revolution, which does not negate its character as an anti-colonial social upheaval. The Iranian students stormed the U.S. embassy in Tehran. They took 66 U.S. military and 6 civilian personnel hostage and held 52 of them for 444 days. Iran now uses its own oil, and gas to build its technologically advanced civilian infrastructure and a military to defend its population. So why is it important for the world to defend Iran? The U.S. ruling class doesn't like it when a country takes control of their own resources. The U.S. has used economic sanctions, military interventions, and assassinations of Iran scientists and military leaders. They fed us lies that Iran is a country of autocratic terrorists. The attack on Iran is part of the U.S. imperialism's continuing war for domination in West Asia. The attacks on Iran are also ultimately part of the imperialist efforts to destabilize China and oppose the inevitable rising multipolar world. The surprise, unprovoked, massive Zionist bombing of Iran began on June 13th. They killed Iran's top military commanders and scientists. Trump claimed credit. He publicly stated he had lured Iran into negotiations to carry out the surprise attack. Can we trust Trump to be honest when he says that they are negotiating? No. On June 21st, the U.S. bombed 3 small Iranian nuclear facilities. However, Iran had already removed the nuclear materials. The whole Iranian nation rallied and was able to hit back in self-defense. Iran's missiles and drones succeeded in breaking through the Iron Dome, the much lauded Iron Dome. The world cheered as Zionists faced attacks they had never experienced. Key military installations were hit, including the Ministry of Defense and a weapons research center, along with the major energy and fuel centers in Haifa. So again, why is it important for the world to defend Iran? Iran has never succumbed to regime change or imperialist threats and intimidations after their revolution. Their defiance has inspired working and oppressed people inside Iran and throughout the world. The growing global admiration for Iran has imperialist powers shaking in their boots. This U.S. Zionist effort to break apart the growing unity of the global majority and weaken the impact of BRICS failed. Growing anti-war movements in the U.S. are seeing clearly the connections between our plunging living standards and the funding of the Zionist occupation. This new phase of imperialist war has crystallized the need for a global united front of socialist countries, the national liberation movements, and anti-imperialist forces of the global majority, and the progressive forces here in the belly of the beast. We are the progressive forces here in the U.S. We need to get organized, work together, and build a united front. We need to support the forces of liberation worldwide and support the socialist countries. We have to stay alert. The U.S. Zionist war in Iran is continuing. The use of sanctions, sabotage, and encirclement will go on. Genocidal Zionist attacks in Gaza are escalating. But the resistance continues among oppressed people. What we are seeing is U.S. imperialism destabilizing politically, economically, even militarily. Its monstrous military machine is being challenged. It's time for the working class in the imperialist countries to show solidarity in the streets with Iran and its rich history of standing up for the world's workers and the most oppressed. This will help weaken imperialism and bring us closer to the day when all of humanity is finally rid of this rotten, oppressive system. This will help weaken imperialism and bring us closer to the day when all of humanity, excuse me, I read that already, and the U.S. funded Zionist war on Palestine, and the decades of U.S. sanctions, assassinations, and threats on Iran. Full solidarity with Iran and the Palestinian resistance. Thank you.
When I say from LA to Gaza, you say U.S. out. From LA to Gaza, U.S. out. From Gaza to Iran, U.S. out. From Gaza to the Philippines, U.S. out. From LA to Cuba, U.S. out. From Cuba to Iran, U.S. out. From Iran to Gaza, U.S. out. Thank you. The next speaker is Lafenya from the African People's Revolutionary Party here in Portland. And after Lafenya, we'll have John Waller and Caroline from Bayon.
No, I think it's okay. Can everyone hear me? Yes! Great. Woo. My name is Mavenya, and I'm here to represent the All-African People's Revolutionary Party. In AAPRP, we firmly believe in the total liberation and unification of Africa under an all-African socialist government. This must be the primary objective of all Black revolutionaries throughout the world. It's an objective which, when achieved, will bring about the fulfillment of the aspirations of Africans and people of African descent everywhere. At the same time, it will advance the triumph of the international socialist revolution and the onward progress towards world communism, under which every society is ordered on the principle of, from each according to his ability, and to each according to his needs. We struggle for socialism in opposition to capitalism, the current world system we're living under. Imperialism, which is capitalism's highest and most violent expression. And of course, colonialism, the European scourge that has swept across the globe, leaving a trail of blood, destruction, physical and existential displacement, and death in all of its forms. While our focus in AAPRP is on Africa, we recognize that these disgusting tendrils of capitalism and colonialism have taken over the whole world, and our struggle for liberation takes place alongside many others. We must educate ourselves about these struggles and develop a clear understanding of the forces that align themselves with capitalism and imperialism, destruction and domination, which are the collective West, the American entity, the Zionist entity, France, Britain, Australia, and others, and those that are aligned with liberation and sovereignty, the Islamic Republic of Iran, Palestine, the Axis of Resistance, and the Alliance of Sahelian States. In honor of our gathering, let's pour libations to recognize some of those who carried the struggle and whom we must learn important lessons from if we're to stay principled and committed to the long fight we're already a part of. So if you have water, you can pour it on the ground to honor the people I'm about to name. And I will say their names and who they are, and after I say all of their names, I will say Ashe, and you will all say Ashe. So first, try it. Ashe. A little louder. Ashe. Okay, cool. So first of all, we'll call in Malcolm X, an African revolutionary from here who upheld internationalism when he said, as long as we think we should get Mississippi straightened out before we worry about the Congo, we'll never get Mississippi straightened out. And he traveled all throughout Asia and Africa, supporting liberation movements and radicalizing and educating people the whole time. Ayatollah Khomeini, the first leader of the Islamic Republic post-revolution. He's the former supreme leader who, after the monarchy, kicked the Shah the fuck out. And he was the first to call America the Great Satan. Also, Nizar Banat, the Palestinian martyr of truth, murdered by the Palestinian Authority, who, don't be confused by the name, they're sellouts. And he was murdered because he told the truth too often. He explained the relationships of the axis of resistance. He spoke out against sectarianism. And he famously said, if you cannot use the language of liberation, then you must not speak. Ashe.
Ashe.
We're here for the International Day of Resistance. The flyer says, stop the war and no sanctions on Iran. This is very noble, but we must be cautious and understand the war began long ago, and maximum pressure sanctions have been imposed on Iran since its Islamic Revolution in 1979. Since 1979 and before then, Iran has been fighting back, developing on its own terms, fighting for its own sovereignty, and refusing to bow to the forces constantly seeking to destroy them. There's a paper online, you can find it if you Google it. It's called Which Path to Persia? And it's from 2009. It outlines everything that we're seeing today and have been seeing for decades. It has strategies for regime change to overthrow the legitimate government, suggestions for military tactics, invasions, occupations, airstrikes. There's even a chapter called Leave It to Bibi, allowing or encouraging an Israeli military strike. They encourage popular uprising, they prop up minority and opposition groups. This all sounds very familiar, doesn't it? We can see why Ayatollah Khamenei, not Khomeini, Khamenei, the new leader of Iran, who is also a great leader of humanity, and he refers to the West as the arrogant powers. They use diplomatic jargon to discuss such horrors as we see today: bunker buster bombs, drone strikes, starvation, destroying the economy. In typical American fashion, there's a complete disregard for life and a cavalier dismissal of humanity. In the face of such Western violence, do we expect any land, any people, to just accept these conditions and not fight back? Do we not expect people to organize themselves in a way that keeps them strong and unified, with weapons, capable of standing up to the world's killers in the US and Israel and other European countries? On this International Day of Resistance, we honor the land and the people in the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we are blessed to stand witness just 2 weeks ago to True Promise 3. And yes, there was a True Promise 1 and 2. For the first time in history, the Zionist entity was bombed the fuck up. That is the only response that is correct. That is the only response that has forced those genocidal rats to feel a fraction of the pain that they inflict on others so thoughtlessly. We have to cheer. We have to celebrate. True Promise 3! Those of us who consider ourselves righteous or revolutionary in any way cannot afford to condemn or dismiss or minimize the actions of people living directly under bombs, whether in the Islamic Republic of Iran, whether it's Hamas, whether it's Ansar Allah, whether it's the forces of the Alliance of Sahelian States, especially not from here in this cesspool of democracy and liberty. The capitalist imperialist death machine of the West does not stop in West Asia. It spreads through East Asia and Africa, in Australia, and throughout this whole entire landmass that is mistakenly called America. So yes, let us call for the war to end and for sanctions to be lifted, but we also have other responsibilities. Most of these responsibilities cannot be carried out individually, but in organization. It is of the utmost importance in this time to be part of an organization that is struggling for liberation. As one of my comrades says, it doesn't have to be ours. It doesn't have to be one that's already out there. You can make your own. To see where organization can take us, we only have to look around us. At the Black Panthers, at Workers' World, at the Communist Party of China, the Communist Party Marxist Kenya, economic freedom fighters in South Africa, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, the Guinean Women's Revolutionary Union, just to name a few. When we are organized, we can effectively protect each other. We can provide for each other. We can fight back. Every liberation movement currently struggling against capitalism and imperialism expresses these forms of organization. So we must study them, we must respect them, and we must build our capacity to apply the appropriate principles that we learn from them that will allow us to stop this monstrous entity that we're forced to be a part of in its bloody tracks. In addition to organizing, another of our greatest responsibilities as Westerners is understanding the truth and revealing that truth. Every person we called in for libations, Malcolm X, Nizar Banat, and Ayatollah Khomeini, was a truth teller. May they rest in peace, as some of them were killed for it. There are many others, and it is our utmost responsibility to follow in their footsteps. The American entity is a den of lies, and just like the Zionist entity, it is full of liars. We must tell the truth. The Islamic Republic of Iran is not our enemy. The Revolutionary Guard bombing the shit out of the Zionists are our comrades. We have to stop the American entity, the Zionist entity, and the West at large from attacking the Islamic Republic, from attacking the Democratic Republic of Congo, from attempting to destroy Palestine, and yes, even from shooting you in the back over a bag of Skittles, because we know that will happen. We know that has happened. Death to America! Death to Israel!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Death to the IDF!
Death, death to the IDF!
Death to the IDF!
Death, death to the IDF!
Death to the IDF!
Death, death to the IDF!
Death, death to the IDF! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
From the river to the sea!
From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
Palestine will be free!
From the sea to the river!
From the sea to the river!
Palestine will live forever!
Palestine will live forever!
Palestine will live forever!
Palestine will live forever!
If we can have people scoot in just a little, just a tad bit. Everyone is comrades. We can all get together just a tad. Thank you so much. Our next speaker, we have John Waller from Portland and the Blockade of Cuba Coalition.
Thank you. I'm speaking today on behalf of that coalition, but I want to say something not on behalf of the Cuban government, but about the Cuban government. The Cuban government has condemned the bombing of Iran, the attack on Iran. The Cuban government has consistently condemned the genocide in Gaza, just as ever since 1959 it's been a supporter of the Palestinian struggle for a free Palestine. Many of the heroic young Palestinian doctors who've been treating people in Gaza, in some cases dying in their heroism, were trained in Cuba for free to be doctors. Cuba, alone amongst, almost alone perhaps, amongst nations of the world, has never recognized the state of Israel as a legitimate state. Okay, since 1959. Since 1959. Okay. Anyway, 2 weeks ago, I'm sure most, if not all of us, were in that demonstration. It was called No Kings. Trump is more than trying to be just a king. Trump is trying to be an emperor. An emperor who assumes the right to decide the future of other countries by imposing draconian sanctions on maybe 100 countries, including Cuba. And not just Trump, Biden was doing it. Every president for the last 60 years has proposed those sanctions. This is not just about Trump. This is about US imperialism. But anyway, now Trump is doing it. Of course, as we all know, he's bombing. He's providing Israel with arms to bomb. He's promoting the need for regime change and the assassination of heads of government. He's openly called for the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei. I'm probably one of the oldest people here. Maybe not the oldest, but one of the oldest. I hope you're familiar with a t-shirt with the words of Pastor Niemöller, who was writing in the time of Nazi Germany. That t-shirt, I'm briefly going to quote, said, "First they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me." Those are prophetic words. Gaza, Iran. Who is next? We know they have a hit list. Who's next on the hit list? I don't claim to know the next one, but certainly Cuba's on that hit list. Some Florida politicians are already stating, bomb Cuba. For now, it's rhetoric. They're not going to do it tomorrow, or the next day, or the next month, but maybe one day. That's why I'm passionate, not just for Cuba's sake, but for the world's sake, that we have to stop this. So let's heed the words of Pastor Niemöller. Let's take a stand now, as we all are, for the people of Palestine. Let's take a stand for the people of Iran. Let's take a stand for the future of humanity. Thank you.
Thank you, John. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty war. 5, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty war. 5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate. 5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate. Next, we're going to hear from Caroline from Bayonne. She's Bayonne's regional coordinator. And after that, we'll hear from Mutaz from Portland for Palestine. And then Alder from Friends from the CPUSA.
Thank you, Lynn. Hello, everybody. My name is Carolyn. I am the regional coordinator for Bayonne, Oregon. We're a grassroots alliance of anti-imperialist Filipino migrant organizations. We are workers, we are women, we are youth, we are students, we are artists. We're fighting for the rights and welfare of our Filipino kababayan here, and also for the national liberation of the Philippines back home. So Bayonne, Oregon condemns the U.S. imperialist escalation against Iran. The U.S. is recreating hysteria over weapons of mass destruction and nuclear armament to paint its aggression as a defense, no? They're masquerading as a champion of democracy to insert itself into the region, to secure economic, political, and military power. The U.S. is attempting to consolidate this power through its puppet state, Israel, and at the expense of national sovereignty and the rights of Iranian, Palestinian, and peoples of West Asia as a whole. But in Bayonne, Oregon, we see through the U.S.'s recycled lies and collectively condemn the U.S. as the biggest purveyor of war and the #1 enemy to all people's movements around the world. The U.S. Zionist escalation has also placed Filipino migrant workers in direct harm. Almost 10,000 Filipinos leave the Philippines every day, forced abroad to find work and take up some of the most dangerous and exploitative jobs around the world. This is because of the systemic landlessness, poverty, and the state-sponsored labor export in the Philippines. Through the attacks on Iran, Filipinos were critically injured and their homes were destroyed. Do you think the Philippine government has done anything to help them? Now, Filipinos in West Asia, they're faced with an impossible choice. Risk their lives by remaining in an active war area, or risk their lives to go back to a homeland that has no jobs and no food to feed its people. The Marcos Jr. administration of the Philippines must condemn the U.S. bombing and immediately remove all U.S. troops, missile system, and military facilities from the Philippines that bring the same threat of war and death to the Filipino people in the Asia-Pacific region. The United States is not a peacemaking country, but a war-making one. They're waging multiple wars abroad while also waging a fascist war on migrant workers here through the relentless detentions and deportations. As colonized peoples subjugated by the U.S. for more than a century, Filipinos in the U.S. must take up our legacy of resistance and rise up against U.S. intervention in Iran, Palestine, the Philippines, and everywhere. We call on all Filipinos to join Bayonne, Oregon, and for allies and other organizations to build with us so we can strengthen our people-to-people solidarity. Our united collective action is the only solution for the national liberation of people around the world. U.S. out of Iran, U.S. out of the Philippines, U.S. out of everywhere. From Palestine to the Philippines. From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, and we're going to do that last chant again, too. From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
From Palestine to the Philippines.
Stop the U.S. war machine.
All right, repeat after me. 1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty wars.
1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty wars.
5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate.
5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate.
1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty war.
1, 2, 3, 4. We don't want your dirty war.
5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate.
5, 6, 7, 8. Learn how to spell negotiate.
Thank you guys so much. Our next speaker here is going to be a dear friend of mine, Mutaz from Portland for Palestine. Give him a hand.
Thank you. Thank you, Portland, for all coming today. This is my city. This is my people. I come from a very large family, and now the whole family. This is, oh, back the speaker, okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. And you guys can hear me over there too? Because, yeah. Well, they're not human being. Anybody's kill a human being, take their land, steal their property, steal their life. And they're cowards, those Zionists. They're doing it with our money, with our people in America. They're making us part of the killing war. When they forgot that 100 years ago here, slavery and apartheid was part of our society, and we distance ourselves from that. We are America. This is what America is about. And they do hate America. The only war, the only time US soldiers were killed, it was done by them bombing the Liberty ship. And the US did not respond to that. But we do respond to every war. We go around the world killing people, taking their land, their resources. For what? Aren't we all human beings? And I have some good news for the Zionists. The Holy Land, throughout history, when you are coming to that land, you are part of Palestine, you are Palestinian. We are all Palestinians. They try to take that from us. They try to take it and steal it and say this is theirs. It's not. It's never been theirs. Anybody will show up to that land, hostile, aggression, killing people. Guess what? That land will swallow you alive. And you know that. You Zionists, we heard something called Nazism in the old days. The Nazis. The Zionists are doing the same what the Nazis did, even worse. Because they're a leech on society. They're a leech on the world. They're cowards and racist. And look at them. They started the war with Iran. After all the genocide that's happening in Palestine for 100 years. They got their butts kicked. And we know that. By the way, a lot of them, their media is very restricted there. Because they're cowards. It is true. But here's the thing about life. Don't ever be with a genocidal, with a loser. Don't ever be with them. Because history will pass us. History will pass us. We saw the people who stood with Hitler. What happened to them? The same thing. You're convicted criminals. Netanyahu. They should have also convicted Biden. And all of them should be convicted. Here in America, if you touch somebody, they call it assault. You go to jail, you get whatever, you know. There, they give you a weapon, US-made weapons, to go kill human being, indigenous, natives. By the way, the other lie you hear about them, when you stand against their faces, they tell you, oh, you're anti-Semitic. I'm 100% Semitic. Show me who you are. They're not. They don't belong in that land. They don't. They're not human beings. The Palestinian people hold the DNA of the Hebrew original people for that land, and that's the truth. That's the reason there. When they bombed Gaza, they bombed the Jewish quarters. They bombed the Christian quarters. They bombed quarters been there for thousands of years. That's the truth. The same families, the same tribes, just like we are in Portland here. We are all from Portland. We are all from the US. We are all Americans. When a bomb falls, does not differentiate between us. Will kill us all. That's the reason we have to stand united, strong to the people of Palestine. And the other thing they hate, I don't know why, which is the truth. Palestine will be free, and it is free from what? From the river to the sea. And the other slogan you add to your daily talk is the US will be free from them, from the ocean to ocean. The Zionists are taking our freedom as Americans. They're the ones standing actually, look up New York, look up Los Angeles with their disgusting flags, telling ICE to pick up our people here and take them and deport them. They're standing with deportation because that's who they are. That's who they are. To break the world, to divide the world. Plus they're cowards. They're a leash. They can't imagine when you start a fight. Be a man and stand for you, but you're not. They're taking our kids to wars. This is really important. Do you want our kids to die to their wars? No! Never again. We should not. We as Americans, we have to understand this. We have to stand as one. They're taking us to wars. They're taking us to kill our kids and destroy our society. By the way, they blow up the pages in Lebanon. You don't think they can do it here? They will do it. They will do it. They have no moral value. Once you kill a human being, you have no moral compass. You're a genocidal. And how come we are allowing IDF, like these guys in the back? These are guys are IDF. How come we are allowing them here? They're dangerous in our community, and our children, and our people in America. I had a procedure, guys, a few days ago, and the doctor, the surgeon, Dr. McLean, he's a good friend of one of my cousins, he's a surgeon too. And he just, when you know somebody, he comes in and check on me, make sure, for the anesthesia, talking to me about the surgery and stuff. So he's want to make sure that, I'm, fully sedated and all that. I told him, doctor, the people in Gaza are people there, they have no medicine, no water, no food, no home. They only had bombings and killing. No medicine, no pain medication. And guess what? Do you know what he said? He said, I have 5 kids. I can't imagine operating on any human being or touching you without being sedated, without having pain medication. We all been sick at one time. Let's feel with our people there in Palestine, in Gaza. Those people are brave. They're fighting the fight for the whole world. They did free us here in America, by the way, because this is what they hate. And they do have the audacity to carry that disgusting flag. My aunt, she's Jewish, and she told me that flag is a Zionist. These people are not Jewish. They have no moral compass. It's a lie. They hijacked every religion, every people, and they come in and they say, oh, we love America. They're liars. They're liars. How come you love somebody when you're killing a human being? You killed a U.S. citizen. How come they're not in jail? This is the truth, guys. Yeah, we have to wake up. We don't want our family and friends and children go to the wars and die. We've seen it happen in Vietnam. I have family who served in Vietnam, and I've seen my uncles coming back. We don't want that to happen again. We have a maniac in the White House now. Trump is a buffoon. He's trying to probably reinstate the draft. Arrest maybe the mayor of, New York? He called him ugly. He's a racist. He's a loser. That's the one who should be deported, not the American people. Wake up, America. Save your freedom. Don't let those Zionists and their entities. The other thing I was going to say in the end, you have something called AIPAC. Yeah. When AIPAC is a bunch of thieves, because of our politicians, those losers, those sellout, the dual citizenship losers, politicians, what they do is they take billions of dollars from us, then they go through a few $100,000 on those senators from our own money. From our own money. They're taking your freedom away. Thank you for all coming, And I can tell you, they lost. They lost, those Zionists. And whoever joined them, they're a bunch of losers. They go around the world, people spit on them. People kick them out. I've seen a lady in Italy. She kicked them out from her restaurant. They said, get the hell out! Get the hell out! That's what she told them. And they tell you it's anti-Semitic, that lady was Jewish. They don't care. This is the truth, guys. When you go to the Palestinian in Jerusalem, the Jewish Palestinians, the Orthodox, the people who know Judaism, they will find the Palestinian flag flying, not that disgusting flag.
That's right.
This is the truth. That flag, exactly similar to the Nazis' swastika. Same thing. Apartheid, racism, all above. Thank you for all coming, I love to see you guys. Bring your friends and family. We do have an event coming up, when it's going to be July 4th. July 4th, we're going to have a big event. Picnic. We all love picnics here in Portland, don't we? So come and join us. You're all one family. Thank you all. And free America from ocean to ocean. And free Palestine, free the whole world from them. And thank you for all coming.
From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
It's great you all are here. Next we're going to hear from Alder from the Communist Party USA. And after that will be Rod Such from BDS and Dan Shea from Vets for Peace.
Hello, yes, I am Alder from the Communist Party of the United States of America. And yeah, some people think Israel controls the United States by blackmail or bribery or other conspiracies. The people who believe such a thing will point to the enormous supply of weapons and other material support that the U.S. regularly sends Israel, and claim that the U.S. receives no benefit from this support. This is not the truth. In fact, it is the United States that controls Israel. The benefit the United States received can be summed up in one word: imperialism. Israel uses U.S. bombs, missiles, and warplanes to accomplish what the imperialist ruling class of the United States has wanted all along: destruction of the region of West Africa, fragmentation and division of the Arab world, and to ensure that no strong anti-imperialist Arab state like Iran will rise to defend its resources, labor, and sovereignty from the unquenchable American thirst for profit. Israel was created for this purpose, and the events of the last 2 years are proof. But even this is not the whole story. The empire will never be satisfied with the subjugation of a single region of the world. The ultimate architects of this misery want nothing less than everything. In the words of Hassan Kanafani, imperialism has laid its body over the world. Just as it wants not only Cuba and Venezuela, but all of Latin America, it wants not only West Asia, but all of Asia. And for this, Iran is the key. Iran lies squarely in the gate from the west to the east. If the empire succeeds in regime change there, it will outflank its greatest rival, the People's Republic of China, whose eastern shore is already surrounded by U.S. military forces, and it will take a giant step closer to dominating the entire world. China is not just the United States' great power economic competitor, but it represents the greatest threat to the unipolar imperialist system. In China, poverty is decreasing, wages are rising, and the public sector is thriving and expanding, in stark contrast to the conditions we face here in the U.S. Moreover, its rise has facilitated acts of resistance in West Asia that the imperialist media is no longer able to conceal. 90% of Iranian oil exports, which sustain the greatest part of their economy, now go to China in defiance of U.S. sanctions. In Iraq, where many years of war and U.S. occupation have devastated the country, China is building thousands of new schools. And last year, they hosted a summit to unify and reconcile the factions of Palestinian resistance. If the United States succeeds in destroying Iran, they will be one step closer to eliminating their greatest rival for world domination. If they succeed in destroying China, developing nations will have no alternative for trade that is not controlled by Western strings and will continue to be crushed. In the belly of the beast, it is our duty to resist our government's imperialist aggression to the utmost, on every front available to us. If you are not already organized, do so. Join or start a union, or join one of the organizations you heard from today. Only the united international working class can defeat the empire. Hands off the Middle East, and long live international solidarity. Repeat after me. U.S. imperialist #1 terrorist.
U.S. imperialist #1 terrorist.
U.S. imperialist #1
U.S. imperialist #1 terrorist.
U.S. imperialist #1 terrorist.
U.S. imperialist #1 terrorist.
One struggle, one fight.
One struggle, one fight.
Workers of the world unite.
Workers of the world unite.
One struggle, one fight.
One struggle, one fight.
Freedom is our human right.
Freedom is a human right.
One struggle, one fight.
One struggle, one fight.
Against imperialism, we unite.
Against imperialism, we unite.
One struggle, one fight.
One struggle, one fight.
Against imperialism, we unite.
Against imperialism, we unite.
Thank you. And for our next speaker, we have Rob Such from Boycott, Divest, Sanction.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Rod Such, and I'm active with the Palestine Solidarity and BDS Working Group of Democratic Socialists of America. And I'm here today to remind people that as we struggle to end the war on Iran and to stop the U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran's sovereignty and independence, we must keep one thing in mind. The struggle against Israeli settler colonialism and U.S. imperialism goes through Palestine. The fight against autocratic regimes, neo-colonialism, and collaboration with Western imperialism runs through Palestine. Palestinian liberation is the key. If Palestine isn't free, the people of Southwest Asia, also known as the Middle East, will never be free. They'll never be free of Israeli militarism and expansionism, free of U.S. hegemony and its exploitation of Middle East resources, free of U.S. support for military dictatorships, free of genocide and apartheid. Palestinians have long known that they are part of a worldwide liberation struggle. The Palestinian Liberation Organization supported the struggle against apartheid in South Africa and the fight for national independence and liberation in Cuba, Vietnam, and around the world. Just recently, when the U.S. staged a coup against the democratically elected government of Bolivia, there was a demonstration against the coup. Guess where? Gaza. Now we have a ceasefire in Iran, but there is still no ceasefire in Gaza. The U.S.-backed Israeli genocide continues. Every day, hundreds of Palestinians are killed. And the latest confession of genocide comes from Israeli soldiers themselves, who say they are being ordered to kill unarmed, starving people who are simply looking for food. Israel's so-called crowd control measures call for killing unarmed people. These atrocities continue every day, and we must stay in the streets. We must do everything we can in every arena of struggle to stop sending U.S. weapons to Israel and to hold the fascist Trump administration to account for its genocidal role throughout the Middle East. We must hold on to hope. Hope came this week in the election victory of Zohran Mamdani and the Democratic mayoral primary in New York City. Mamdani is a member of Democratic Socialists of America and a longtime Palestine solidarity activist. He recently pledged that if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York City and if he is the mayor, he will issue an arrest warrant for this indicted war criminal. Mamdani's victory is a huge win for working people and communities of color, And it should be a wake-up call to the Democratic Party establishment, to people like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and our own U.S. Senator Ron Wyden. They just lost an election to a racist fascist like Trump, in part because they themselves embrace fascism and racism. This country does not need two genocidal parties. The Democrats' long history of abuse and neglect of migrant workers and support for ICE deportations is coming home to roost. It's come home to roost in the form of masked and unidentified ICE goons, picking people up off the streets and in our courtrooms, and even when they check in at ICE headquarters. It's come home to roost in the form of the National Guard and U.S. Marines sent to the majority Latino city of Los Angeles. I urge you to join with DSA and others to get involved in BDS campaigns. We're campaigning to end city, county, and state investments in Israeli apartheid. Join our campaign to boycott Chevron, which supplies fuel for the Israeli war machine. It's now clearer than ever that our own liberation is bound up with the liberation of Palestine. No nation can be free that oppresses other nations. Free Palestine and free ourselves.
Thank you, Rod. From Los Angeles to Palestine, U.S. out. From Gaza to Guantanamo, U.S. out. From L.A. to the Philippines, U.S. out. From Gaza to Guantanamo, U.S. out. Thanks. Now we're going to hear from Dan Shea from Veterans for Peace. And after that, the last two speakers will be Hugo from ILPS and Mog from Resist U.S.-Led War.
Okay, again, my name is Daniel Shea with Veterans for Peace. I'm president of the local chapter here in Portland. I just wanted to say that on the national level, we have people that are doing a 40-day fast for Gaza. We also have people that are, in various places around the state that are maybe only fasting for 1 hour, 1 day, a couple of days here and there, and people are joining it as across the country. Also, that VOP, the National, has condemned the bombing of the nuclear sites and facilities in Iran. They have been strongly against and issued a number of statements against the genocide in Gaza and the starving that is going on right now. We have people that have been on the flotillas that have been stopped and bombed by Israelis to stop humanitarian aid to get into Gaza. But the one thing I wanted to do, because everybody is pretty well educated here, you've got everybody, I could practically just say ditto from what everybody has already said. I don't need to educate you on what that's about. But we got to make this personal. I see children playing in the water over here, and I think of my children when they were growing up. And many people know my story that I had a child that was born with a congenital heart disease that eventually took his life when he was 3 years old, and he died in my arms. Well, I know that the Palestinians have their children dying in their arms. I know that the Vietnamese had their children dying in their arms. For me, it's personal. And every time I hear that there's a child been killed, I break down. I live with tears almost every day. I get depressed. I get angry. I go to therapy because I cannot stand the whole fucking idea that these people are killing other people, that they're killing children. So I was just thinking today, I was watching out to my back door, and this is just something that came to me. I was watching a butterfly catching the breeze, floating on an invisible stream without, it seems, any direction, going forward, then backwards, than up and down, more like a dance than a destination. I wondered in our efforts to end genocide and starvation of Palestinians and thought we came out in the millions to condemn Israel's attack on Iran, dragging the U.S. into an act of war in bombing nuclear facilities. Are we butterflies dancing aimlessly, feebly against in resistance? The thought lingers for a minute, but the butterflies are not aimless. They find the flower and the plants to land. They lay their eggs on which the hatched caterpillar will feed. And for us, as butterflies, the future, as is the butterfly, the future is what follows. It could be the next generation, but we can't wait that long. We need to continue to build a national and international solidarity, anti-war, and peace movement. We need a general strike that says, stop arming Israel. I have been reading a book that my daughter gave me for Christmas. It's called Reign of Gold by Victor Villanasero. I don't have it here. It's the story. It's a story of two indigenous Mexican families that survived, that supported the Mexican Revolution, but survived it. The Mexican Revolution of Pancho Villa. Fleeing these wars, these war-torn countries, they migrated to the United States. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? People migrating to the United States. Has a familiar ring today as well, but in the story, the mothers are the heads of the family, the altar of wisdom. This phrase kind of struck me. When all else seems impossible, what is needed is conviction. Here inside your soul, again, personal, here inside your soul, you will overcome whatever it takes to get there. We need to win against these fascist warmongers. We need conviction. We need to say, free Israel. Free, free Israel. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. When you free Palestine, you will free Israel.
Thank you, Dan. Repeat after me. Money for homes and education. Not for wars and occupation. Money for homes and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for homes and education. Not for war and occupation. Money for homes and education. Not for war and occupation. We want justice, you say how? Stop arming Israel now. We want justice, you say how? Stop bombing children now. We want justice, you say how? Stop arming Israel now. We want justice, you say how? Stop bombing children now. Okay, and this one I kind of like, and I think it's very fitting for our subject matter today. So I'm gonna say, no boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. You say U.S. out of everywhere. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air.
U.S. out of everywhere.
That's right, U.S. out of everywhere. Get grubby little fingers out of all the countries here. Stick to this country, please. All right, our next speaker here, we have Hugo from IOPS.
warm and militant greetings, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's hot. I know we're tired, but I am so honored to be here with you all standing in the sun in solidarity with Iran. My name is Yago. I'm a member of the International League of People's Struggle Portland. We are a global alliance of grassroots organizations with over 400 members on all 6 inhabited continents. We're all here today because we believe in the right of the Iranian people to sovereignty, and we oppose U.S. military intervention. So let's situate ourselves again. Israel has continued its relentless attacks on civilians and attacked Iran on June 13th. The U.S. then bombed Iran in an illegal attack using never used before bunker buster bombs. The U.S. is claiming it striked Iran to make peace and limit the proliferation of nuclear weapons. But would a country strike another country if it was interested in peace? Trump is trying to show strength militarily and maintain its strategic dominance in the region, in the Middle East, through attacking Iran, but it actually exposes its own weakness. Iran was able to force the U.S. and Israel into a ceasefire within 1 day because the people of the U.S. do not want war. Even Trump's own party is turning against him. Israel then immediately violated the ceasefire, humiliating Trump and forcing Trump to denounce him. These cracks and alliances in the ruling system oppose their weakness and our strength. It is the Iranian people who have the right to determine the destiny of their own country, including their right to weaponry and their right to energy. And we stand by Iran and its right to defend itself from unprovoked aggression. It is the people who will continue to suffer under these endless wars. The people here in Portland facing poverty. The Palestinian people being gunned down while they wait for flour. The people of Guam who were used as a landing pad for these attacks. And the people of the Philippines whose president has signed an unprecedented number of agreements with NATO allies. But it is also the people who will fight back and who will solve these problems, from the Palestinian resistance to the Philippine revolution to Iranian people calling for just peace, to us here in Portland in the belly of the imperialist beast. Here in the United States, we must all stand for the rights of Iranian sovereignty, for the rights of Palestine to land, food, and water, to the rights of all people to stay in safe homes and in an environment we can live in. In Portland, members of IOPS are fighting to keep our community members housed. They are fighting to get U.S. military basing out of Korea and out of the Philippines. We are fighting for the rights of the people to stand in solidarity in the face of rising fascist attacks on activists. And we are fighting for a right to struggle, to defend our communities. We are building up our anti-fascist campaigns, preparing for a National Assembly in October, and building our unity and our strength and our will to fight. We will continue to oppose U.S. imperialism, call for genuine sovereignty, and condemn the illegal attacks on Iran and all other U.S. military operations which seek to destroy the people. And we ask all of you to join us to defend people's struggle. U.S. out of Iran, U.S. out of everywhere, defend our communities. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, Hugo. Before I introduce the last speaker, I just want to say, I want to just ask if people at the end of this, who's ever left, can bring your flags and banners and do a group shot. This is such an exciting day in that a dozen of Portland's finest groups and people speakers have participated in this. And in organizing this, it just really felt like a united front was beginning in Portland, and that would be so awesome if we could continue this momentum, because there's a lot of work to do. All right, we're going to hear from Mog from Resist U.S.-Led War.
Okay, hello, hi. My name is Marg. I am a Portland coordinator with the Resist U.S.-Led War movement. Before I get started, I just want to point out the Zionist counter-protesters are gone. And just like we will outlast Zionism in world history, we are outlasting them today because the tenacity and strength of the people united for genuine democracy for all will always win. Resist is a global network fighting to dismantle the U.S. war machine and build a just and lasting peace for all peoples. We condemn, in the strongest terms, the U.S. bombing of Iran's civilian nuclear facilities, an act of naked aggression that marks a dangerous escalation from proxy warfare to direct imperialist assault. This war did not start last night. The U.S. armed Israel to the teeth, greenlit its attacks, and stepped in only when Iran's resistance proved too strong for its proxies. Trump says now is the time for peace while launching missiles at the very forces fighting for peace. U.S. aggression doesn't bring peace. It brings war across West Asia and across the world. Iran disrupts U.S. dominance in the region. It challenges Western control of oil and gas and stands with the people of Palestine, Yemen, Lebanon, and beyond. Iran is part of a growing axis of resistance to Zionist expansion and U.S. hegemony. For this, the U.S. wants it destroyed, just like it wants all people that stand in its way destroyed. This is not new. Every U.S. president, Trump included, has fueled endless war, bleeding public funds, pushing us deeper and deeper into ongoing crisis, and unleashing violence abroad and at home. The same war machine bombing Iran also targets migrants here, props up ICE, and militarizes our streets. In Resist Portland, we are struggling every day against the U.S. war machine. In June, we rallied against Fleet Week and the sickening glorification of war it inflicts on Portlanders. In July, we will be organizing political education to discuss how we can support migrant communities against ICE. In August, we will be rallying against Guantanamo Bay and the war it wages against the people of Cuba and migrants to America alike. In September, we will go up against the Oregon air shows and demand an end to all war exercises. Wherever the U.S. war machine moves, we will be there to expose it, oppose it, and stop it by any means necessary. So if you're not yet organized, it has been time, and it is now time again to get organized. The people of the world are the only force that can dismantle this violent system, so please join us. Those who care about Cuba solidarity, join us. Philippine solidarity, join us. Solidarity with the poor here at home, join us. Our struggles are connected. Let us join with our comrades in Iran in the just struggle against our common enemy. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. Thank you.
Thank you, Mog. That was an amazing end to our program today. And once again, no boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. U.S. out of everywhere. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. U.S. out of everywhere. No boots on the ground, no bombs in the air. U.S. out of everywhere. That's right, U.S. out of everywhere. Now we're going to gather around if anybody would like to be a part of this photo